Hey everyone, this is Fariloan and welcome to my Easy 7 final impressions video. Since I just finished the game, finally I beat Easy 7 like an hour ago or something like that, and I really want to share some more um, opinions that I gathered while I was playing the game since last in my last video I was saying that it was like 6 hours into it, so now I beat it. I played a lot of it. It was the only game that I played. I couldn't stop playing for obvious reasons since it's fantastic. So I really wanted to beat this game, and this morning I just have to face the last two final bosses, and after epic battle I managed to defeat them and watch the ending. So, has my opinion changed since my last video? Of course not. I loved this game. I love this game so much. Everything about it, it was just great. And I only have one really small complaint, but we'll talk about that later. So, as I said, in my last video, I talk a lot mainly about the battle system, and because from what I heard and saw on YouTube and stuff like that, it was the main cause of perplexity and discussion in the community, since you don't play as Ado alone anymore. You have a party, you can change um, who you're controlling and stuff like that. And I liked it, and I'm still like it very much. I think it was a breath of fresh air for the Easy series. They sometimes you have to do something a little different, or the game will be the same over and over again. But I didn't complain with Ultim Felghana Origins of those games. They were fantastic as well. So I really like the combat system. It was very fun and engaging, like Ultim Felghana. But the dodge button, I love that so much. I love the possibility of dodging attacks, and that was essential during boss battles. That really saved my neck on a lot of occasions, I have to say, and it was really useful. So I don't think I've much much to say, much more to say about the combat system since I explored it a lot in my previous video. Let's talk a little more about the story. Did I like it? Yes, it was very nice. Nothing, I think, completely new, fresh, and original, but it was nice. It was a nice, easy story, and basically the idea is that Adol and Doggy, after the events of Ys 6 Arc of Napishtim, um, reached this country of Altago, and I really like at the beginning that Doggy jokes with Adol saying that I didn't think that we had such a nice boat trip. Since it was a nice joke saying Adol in every single game, basically at the beginning, he's shipwrecked, always found like on the beach. So that was a nice joke about the series itself. So after that, they started to see that there are some problems in this kingdom, that it's, as the story reveals progressively, it's falling out of balance for like a sort of um, how the population is living their life, they're ruling their land or misruling the land or something like that. So there are problems. There is this plague spreading among the population called the Iscan fever that is causing a lot of problems, and it's up to our heroes, of course, to save the day and understand mainly what is going on and what do they have to do to stop this plague and put order in Altago. So basically, they have to travel to these shrines in order to um, gain these powers of the dragons, in order to gain power to restore the balance. But it's not there. It's not just that. Something huge happened at one point. Of course, I'm not going to tell what it is. And they have to, at that point, contact and meet the dragons of the land, since this Altago country was created by 5 great dragons. So Doggy and Adol and Doggy had have to take the powers, like have gain the powers of these dragons in order to save the land at this point. And it's all up to them. So a great adventure um, is revealed, and it's up to them to save the land. So, and I also think that there is some sort of there is not some sort there is um, the story of like destiny is like are are we completely tied and ruled by our destiny? Some characters made you feel like this, made you think like that. You think like this is my destiny. I have to do this. There's nothing else I can do. But Adol, on the other hand, is a kind of character that says, yes, it's her destiny, but I think that we can change our destiny with our action and with what we are trying to do, like try to improve this land, maybe it can change its destiny of destruction. It was a nice, that was a nice, especially towards the end, was a nice um, kind of plot. I like those kind of things, like in movies or gaming, like destiny. It's always the same. We cannot escape it, or we can do whatever we can, especially if we have this sort of really unfortunate and sad kind of fate. The characters, briefly, since I met all of them naturally, Adol, Doggies, Loud Motorcycle, the main protagonists, of course, then you meet others that you can control, from Aisha, the princess of Altago, uh, the sages of the different tribes of this land, from Elk, Mustafa, and her. Then later is replaced by his sister Croxy. Um, there's Mishera, the blind priestess of the wind, and finally there's Gaze, a returning character from Ease 6. But as I said, since I haven't played the game, not I mean I have the game, but I haven't played enough of it, so I haven't met him yet in Ease 6. And with his three fairies, I really like those three fairies, very funny. And that brings to my only small complaint that I have regarding Ease 7, which is there is a little repetitiveness among the characters. Some of them are basically the same. There are small differences. For example, you have like fast attacking, kind of balanced characters like Adol, but then you have Elk, which is very similar. It's that kind of characters. Maybe it's a little more agile and less strong in like physical combat, but it's very similar. Then you have Gaze, very similar to both of them. Probably a little stronger, like in defense or attack, but again, a balanced character. You have Dogi with the heavy hitter kind of character, but then you meet Mustafa and Cruxy. Both of them are heavy hitter. The differences between these characters are quite minimal, you know. We got maybe someone is a little stronger in attack, weaker in defense, more life, less life, those kind of really small difference. This is not a complaint, it's just details. The only thing that I noticed that I don't even want to say I didn't like it, because I like those characters. I've always tried to use all of them as much as I can, and it's at the end it's up to you to who do you want to use the most, the characters that you prefer. Personally, since you can always you have to use Adol, but it's not a problem. We all love Adol, but the other two characters I usually select always Mishera and Gaze. But if it was necessary, I didn't mind change to, I don't know, put some heavy hitter or Aisha or Sigurun, I forgot to mention her, the Dragon Knight, sort of mentor bodyguard, friend of the princess. And she's basically the same, she's an archer, so that's the only thing you can say that maybe Falcom could have worked a little more on the characters, like have a little more development of some of them, make them a little different from each other. But these, as I said, these are details. It's not a complaint, because I like these characters. They're really nice, but I would like some more development and a little more backstory on them. But if you have that, you will have a massive, huge Ease game, and that's the other thing I want to talk about. This game was, for like I felt it was much longer than the usual Ease game. It took me between 23, 24 hours to beat this, and also because at the end I spent a little time grinding and looking for soul stones, since I wanted to upgrade my weapons and armors to the stronger ones. That made me spend 3 hours or something. I don't know, but it helped a lot to have a really strong equipment to the two final bosses. And yeah, I felt that this game was a. I think this could be the longest Ys game that I played so far. I don't remember how much I played Oath in Felghana. I haven't finished it yet. I have to beat the final boss, and I don't remember about Ys Origins. But these three, I think, they're without a doubt the longest games. And I don't know about Ys 6 Arc of Napishtim system. So far, I play like 2 hours or something. So I don't have my PS2 with me. I have the game on that system. I don't have it on the PSP. Maybe I should have there, because the Europe. I just want to say the European version of Ys Arc of Napishtim sucks. I don't know if it's different from the North American, but there are a lot of problems on that. But apart from that, because the earlier Ys games are quite short. I mean, you can beat Ys Book One, The Banished Omen, in one setting, I think. Um, I don't know the number of hours that it took me, but because you'll like spend most of that in the Dharm Tower, going up and down, looking for the blue amulet and the blue talisman, and then going up through the mirrors, something like that. That took most of the time, but in general, you can beat in one setting. Um, Ys 2, I haven't beaten yet. Just at the Solomon Shrine, so I haven't played in a while. But Wonder from Ys is not very long. Oath in Felghana, it is longer. But I'll say Ys 7 could be the longest Ys game, and it's not a complaint at all. Um, I enjoy the story, I enjoy the characters very much, so it really didn't feel like a long game. And it's not like, I don't know, an RPG, a huge RPG of like 80 to 100 hours. Not at all. I mean, um, it took me double that time to beat Trails in the Sky. I mean, it took me 42 hours to beat that game. So, Ys 7, I think it was the right amount. Again, maybe a little longer than usual, but I think that these new Ys games will always be around the 20 plus hours. And that also brings to the next topic of this video, which is the difficulty. Ys is always been a very difficult series. The original, the older ones, the difficulty depends, other than the boss battles, in how you attack the enemy because of the awesome bump and run system. Wow, these motorcycles are really loud. The bump and run system, because you don't have to charge right on the enemies. You have to attack from certain angles. I love that system. And it also made some strategy and challenge. With Ys 5, the introduction of the more hack and slash gameplay that has become the staple of Ys, the main difficulty are the bosses. And I want to talk about this, about Ys 7. I found this game much easier than usual, and I'm saying as a compliment, it's not a complaint at all. Um, Oath in Felghana has some massive, really difficult, really frustrating boss battles. For example, the one that drove me insane was the battle with the three harpies. Those three killed me, I think, 20 times. It drove me insane. I have to like shut the game, pause for like a day, and then try again. Nothing like that happened during my entire gameplay of Ys 7. Um, Most of the bosses, I managed to beat them in one try, even without using healing items. It depends on the time, but up until like the end of the game, bosses are really manageable. They're not easy. I mean, easy is another thing, but they're really manageable if you use well your dodge button and select the good party members. Constantly change it among them, so all the damage is not focused on only one character. Like, so you can use some strategy during a boss battle. That's a cool thing of this combat system. But using all these strategies, you can manage bosses really well and kind of easily in a way. And up until I think the Moon Dragon, I never had problems. The first time I tried to beat the Moon Dragon, I didn't have any item, like any healing item, and that boss is pretty strong, difficult, and long. It's a long battle, especially when he changes form. I was, oh shit, I don't have any potion with me, and this is really difficult. So At that point, I was, and also the really frustrating thing is that before that battle, I didn't like I forgot to save. So when I restarted, I went back. I had to beat the sea dragon again, and buy all the healing items that I needed, and then beat the moon dragon with all potions and everything. But only at that point I started to like having some problems, but because I didn't have anything. After that, for the three final bosses, with potions I didn't have much problems. Except the final boss, of course it's difficult. It's that massive thing on three different forms, and but it's the final boss of the game, so it's understandable. It's a bit harder than the others. But overall, it's a manageable game. So for this thing, I think this is the most recommended game for beginners. Earlier games could be very difficult and frustrating. I don't know if new players will enjoy as much the run and bump system. Maybe they should progressively get into the series, start to love the new games, and then discover the old games and see how awesome they are, because I love the run and bump. And for this reason, yes, I highly recommend this game for beginners. If you never play an Ys game, think that Ys 7, it's a perfect starting point. Um, it's very similar to both Ultima Thule and Origins, but it's a little easier, I think. So it will not be as frustrating as those other two. Are not impossible, but Ultima Thule it's very difficult. At least I found it very hard. But with the bosses, for example, it's all about memorizing the patterns and understand them, and you can manage very well. And with the dodge button, I keep saying this, but it's really useful, and it's a great thing that make the game so manageable, the dodge button, especially on boss battles. And finally, the music. As I said before, but I have to mention again, since I love JDK music, and the soundtrack of Ys games are always so good. And I just want to confirm what I said before. I mean, Oath Felgana will always be the best. I mean, that soundtrack is one of the best, period. But Ys 7, Origin was very good, but not as good in terms of soundtrack. Like, in general, I'll say. It's a very good game, but not as good as Oath Felgana. E7, in terms of soundtrack, I think it's not as good as Old Felgana, but it's almost as good as. Like, I really like this soundtrack. I will definitely buy it in the future because I really enjoyed it. Some themes were amazing, like the boss battle. Um, I cannot say this, I don't want to spoil it, but the first of the three final bosses, if it does make sense, that music was amazing. It pumped me so much. I had such a boost of energy in fighting him, and I beat it at the first attempt. But that music was amazing. Or like the Altago Fields, the second one, after like the wind of destruction started to spread. That music is great. I mean, there's plenty of amazing music. As I said, if Otin Felgana is clearly a 10, this is a 9, easily, because it's a great music, and I love all. It is as it's as a series as a whole, as some of the best soundtrack. If saying like the best, it's difficult, but it's one of the best of the entire industry to me. And Easy 7 is a fantastic soundtrack. So, in conclusion, let's put an end to this one because I love this so much. I'm talking much more than I expected. This this is a great game, and I will say it right now. This is becoming my favorite modern Ys game. Yes, I prefer this to Ultima Thule. I prefer the combat system because of the dodge button, but I really like changing the party members. I love using Ado. I love Ado. He is a great hero, and he really is really cool, Ado the Red. But the idea of using some other characters, I really like that. It's a way to explore more the world of Ys in a way, and these characters are really good. As I say, I would like some more development, but this is the first time that Falcom tried something like this in an Ys game, so for the first attempt, it went really well. So I really like these characters and really like changing among them, and as I said, this is becoming my favorite modern Ys game. Um, Ys Book 1 and 2 will always be my favorite of the entire series because, as I said before, there really is a special charm to that game. The moment you play that, especially like for me when I played it for the first time on the Virtual Console, it brought me back as to my childhood in a way, and I had I felt really such a strong nostalgia playing that game for the first time. It was like I was 5 years old again, like when I played Zelda for the first time. So there is a sort of Zelda-ish feeling to Ys 1. Not want to compare the two series, how can I? But actually, I felt like I was playing Zelda for the first time. Because if I played Ys 1 back then, I would have loved it so much. I love it very much now. It wouldn't be one of my favorite games of all time if I played it. It kind of is the series, but I will be fanatical about Ys 1 and 2 if I played it back then. So, Book 1 and 2 will always be my personal favorite because it's a special game. The music, the gameplay, the story, the everything about it is special to me. It's very dear into my heart. But with the modern Ys games, this is my favorite now. It's even better than All for Ghana, probably because it's a bit more manageable and a little less frustrating. All for Ghana is a phenomenal game, like, and all the Ys games are great. So I'm not saying that it is the best, the other sucks. Of course not. They're all good, but Ys 7 now is becoming my favorite, mainly because of the really good and well-balanced combat system and difficulty, a really interesting cast of characters, and I really hope, and this is the final, um, and this is the final way, so something to say yet. I really hope to see in the future more games with more character development. Since I think this is the direction Ys is going, uh, this gameplay, party members, this kind of combat system. I don't think we'll ever see the run and bump. I would like to say a next generation run and bump Ys, but it's never going to happen. So what is the future? Now that I play Ys 7, chronologically the last game, not in like release order, but story-wise, this is the last Ys game. What what is the future of the series? Since I don't own a PSP yet, I haven't played Celceta, Memories of Celceta, but that is a remake of Ys 4, so the third Ys 4 game, and I haven't played any of them, so I really, really want to play both Dawn of Ys and Mask of the Sun, but they weren't released in the West, and I'm not that good to use like ROM or anything like that, but we'll see, maybe I'll find a way to play those games. But what will we have next? Personally, I think that the most obvious move by Falcon will be make a remake of Ys 5, the only one that now we don't have, in a way. And Lost Caffeine is considered, but which one is the black sheep? 3 or 5? I don't know. I haven't played 5. Maybe if I played it, I was like, oh, this game is awesome. Because Ys 3 Wonders, it's a phenomenal game. I loved it. So I don't consider it a black sheep. So for what I heard, Ys 5 is the black sheep. I think it's natural to have a remake, especially after we have Celceta. Probably we'll have a Ys 5 kind of remake, but with uh, modern restyling and modern gameplay, that kind of thing. And I really, really hope for Ys 8. The story must go on, Falcom. We need more Ys game, but it's obvious. I think it's obvious that it's going that way. I don't see Ys 7 as the final Ys game, simply because the games and the series are becoming more popular by the day, basically, and that's an amazing thing. Back then, Ys was a sort of hidden gem, known only by TurboGrafx owner, basically. Nowadays, Ys is becoming more and more popular, so it's obvious that Falcon will continue um, releasing this game. And I think that, contrary to Trails in the Sky and Legend of Heroes, Ys is very popular in the West, so I think we'll have more Ys games in the future. So my prediction is probably quite easy to predict it, is that we'll have a remake of 5 in the future, and then an Ys 8. On what console, I don't know. We'll see. Anything goes. The important thing is having it on consoles. That's my only thing. So that's it. Ys 7, phenomenal game. My favorite Ys modern Ys game, definitely. Highly recommended. As I said before, Ys fans probably already played it. I was left behind because I didn't have a PSP back then, but now that I have it, I played it, I finished it, and I loved it. Loved it very, very much. Huge recommendation. Excellent starting point for newcomers in the Ys series, since it's the most manageable, I think, among the modern ones. So play this game, enjoyed it because it's a great game, a good story, and a phenomenal soundtrack. And that's all I have to say. So thanks for watching, guys. Like always, hope you enjoyed it. Love Ys. I really, really wanted to talk more about this, and now I can move on to my next PSP game. It's ready to go, but start tonight. But for now, this is all. Thanks for watching. Like always, take care.